Alright, in this video we're going to talk about section 1.2, graphical transformations, and this time we're going to talk about some transformations that you probably haven't seen before. And we're going to talk about absolute value composition. So we're going to start with a function. We're either going to take the absolute value of the function, or we're going to take the absolute value of the independent variable. So first thing is, if we have the graph of the function y equals f of x, then we can say that the graph of the absolute value of f of x can be obtained by reflecting the portion of the graph below the x-axis over the x-axis, leaving the other portion unchanged, so the portion above the x-axis unchanged. So we're going to take all the things with negative y values basically and make them positive y values. Now, we can also say that the graph of the absolute value, or f of the absolute value of x rather, can be obtained by replacing the portion of the graph to the left of the y-axis by a reflection of the portion to the right of the y-axis across the y-axis, leaving the portion to the right unchanged. So we're basically going to erase everything with a negative x value and replace it with everything with positive x values. So that's going to make sense if you look at what we're actually talking about here. F of x is going to be y values. So if we take the absolute value of a y, we're going to take everything below the axis and move it up. Here we're taking just the absolute value of x, so we're going to take everything to the left of the y-axis, so everything with negative x values, and replace it with everything that we had with positive x values. So let's kind of take a look at a couple of real quick problems, and then we'll call it quits on this video. So over here to the right, we have a graph of f of x, and we have four problems down here: absolute value of f of x, f of the absolute value of x, negative absolute value of f of x, and the absolute value of f of the absolute value of x. So we have to try to match these graphs here with these things here. Now obviously there are 6 options for problems. 2 of these things aren't going to be used. So the first thing we want to think about is absolute value of f of x. Now remember, this is the one that takes everything below the axis, below the x-axis rather, and makes it positive. So if we look, we have this stuff here in blue below the x-axis. So we want to find the graph that only changes this stuff and flips it up top here. So if we look, that's going to be C, right? We had values down here. We took the absolute value of them, so we put them up here. So our first answer is going to be C. Then if we think about number 2, number 2 wants us to find f of the absolute value of x. So that's the one where we wanted to take everything with a negative x value and replace it with everything with a positive x value. So everything with a positive x value is here. So we want to replace all of this stuff here with this red portion. So it has like a little dip here, right? The vertex of our parabola is actually to the right of the y-axis, so we're going to have like a little bump down here as well. So if we look, the only one with another little bump is going to be part A. So if we were to take this red stuff and reflect it over the y-axis, we'd get this thing here as well. So that's going to be A. Now if we look at 3, 3 is going to be related to 1 pretty well, right? We have absolute value of f of x, and 3 wants the negative absolute value of f of x. So this negative out front, if we remember, that's going to take what we had originally and reflect it over the x-axis. So if we started out here for the absolute value of f of x, if we reflect that over the x-axis, we're going to end down here at f. And then 4 is going to be kind of related to number 2, right? Because inside here we have the absolute, or f of the absolute value of x. Here is f of the absolute value of x. So we want to actually take the absolute value of a. So remember that the absolute value of the function takes all of your negative y values and flips them up to make them positive y values. So that's going to give us d. So when we take the absolute value of a function, remember we got to take the y values, make them positive. If you take the absolute value of your independent variable, we want to replace everything that was to the left of the y-axis with a reflection of everything that was to the right of the y-axis. So that's going to do it for this video. We'll see you in the next one.